The fever is back on. It is pre-match day as Manchester United on arch rival Manchester City in the curtain raiser to the 2024-2025 season. I'll tell you, this might not be a competitive title, but it is a game of pride because it is a battle of champions. And indeed, us being the winners of the FA Cup, this is an important one to go and beat the league winners, the noisy neighbors in blue. There are no friendlies, there are no pre-season feelings about this. It is indeed a big grudge match. Welcome to the new season, ladies and gentlemen. The boss has spoken. The pre-match press conference has been buzzing with news from left, right, and center. But question is, will that man, Joshua Zirkzee, be making his debut tomorrow? Welcome to the United of Sport. Like, share, and subscribe. And for the most part of this video, you won't be checking out my face. You will be seeing this view of the Probable lineup that Erik ten Hag might rock. Of course, this lineup is guided by what he spoke after, before the match in that pre-match press conference. He spoke about the injuries he has, and there are doubts to several players in there, the likes of Luke Shaw, the likes of Johnny Evans, the likes of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, the likes of Harry Maguire. All these players are doubted, like I told you in my team news earlier on. So we've got a few positions to worry about in terms of injuries, but not that solutions cannot be found. Erik ten Hag has emphasized it that whereas, yes, we've made 2 signings and perhaps there is need for more signings, he says we've got 2 players in every position. And he has been impressed by certain players who were struggling mostly in the last season. So they will be hoping to come in this time and make their case. And case in point is Mason Mount, who was one of the decent performers for Man United during preseason in the earlier games we've played. But let's get into my Probable starting 11. We're taking on a Manchester City that has not made a lot of changes, that was strong in winning the title last season, but we humbled them in the final game of the season at Wembley to lift the FA Cup title. But there you go. So Erik ten Hag knows that some players are not 100% fit, and whereas this should be the ideal squad based on what we have, and I'm going to give my assessment of the squad as we head into the new season as it is now, because we don't know what is going to happen between now and the end of and the coming week. But we know that some players in there may not be 100% fit to start. Erik ten Hag hinted on it, saying that players like Kobe, who arrived late from their holiday, players like a bit of Bruno Fernandes, Lisandro Martinez, they need to assess them. The players who stayed back at Carrington and did not take part in the tour need to be assessed further as well to see how fit they are for such a game. The thing is, this is a preseason game. They do not want to take a lot of risks, even if they know it is against an arch rival. So you need to put that in mind as you think about the Probable starting 11. But look at that. So in goal, definitely Andrew Nana, there are no questions about him. I think he'll start, of course, in goal. But you look at the back line and Luke Shaw being a doubt. The guys in red are the Probable starters. Now, with Luke Shaw doubted, I think this is the right opportunity for Harry Amas to come and perhaps try to test the big opponents in the big games, because Man City is a big game, whichever way you look at it. So my feeling is that this should be the opportunity for Harry Amas, and even if Luke Shaw is fit, save him a little, let him come on in the second half, but let Amas get the feeling of starting a big game against a team like Manchester City. So I would want to see Amas also try to be stretched a bit by Kyle Walker running from that right as well. I feel like it's a good experience for him. It would indeed try and prepare him for what's coming, because the Premier League is all about tight battles with fast and uh, now away from Amas. Yeah, just got a little distraction in there. But after away from Amas, the back line, suddenly Lisandro Martinez is said to be fit. I expect him to start. He hasn't played a lot of football. He needs to be on the pitch. He needs to be playing games. So I think certainly Lisandro Martinez should start on the left of the central defense. Johnny Evans is not 100%. That's why I put a star on him. Now, if Evans is not there, Harry Maguire not there, Victor Lindelof not there, chances are we are going to have Casemiro yet again playing in the central defense, which is something none of us wants to see, but that's how bad we are. Then Diogo Dalot on the right. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, the fact that we want to push him out, I don't think it would be wise for us to play him. unless we're short of numbers. I think you'd rather give Hamas an opportunity. Why play a player who you not have in your plans for the greater good at a time like this when the other players are available? So my feeling is Wan Bissaka can be left out. So let Diallo play on the right. In the middle, if one of the centre backs passes the fitness test, Harry, Victor Lindelof, Evans, then Casemiro will drop back in the middle. If not, Scott McTominay, then Kobe. Again, Kobe, remember, is among the last players who reported. It's always going to be difficult for the coach to start him. It's possible that he might come on later or even not play at all. Then Bruno in the middle. That one is always almost ever fit. There are always not so many issues about him. Then Marcus Rashford. Now, this is where the debates could be. Rashford has been buzzing. Garnacho was a late arrival. He returned a bit late from the uh, from his holiday. Whereas he's Eric Ten Hag's favorite player. My feeling is Rashford has been amazing, and you don't want to pause what he has been building. I feel like Marcus Rashford has had a very good preseason. He has looked impressive. You can clearly see that the impact that Ruud van Nistelrooy has had on him has been amazing. So I want to see him more against a team like Man City. These are the games he loves to play, the big games. What more can he give us? So I think Rashford should be starting ahead of Garnacho on that left. Then Amad Diallo definitely on the right, and I know Eric Ten Hag loves to keep tinkering and switching things around, but it would be extremely dangerous for Eric Ten Hag, and we know how stubborn he proved to be before. But it would be extremely dangerous for Eric Ten Hag to put Ahmad on the bench in this game because he's the one player who is in the mood. He has picked up his joy and happiness. He has found joy playing football again. He has picked up his rhythm. He's in the mood. He flows right now. He's on fire. You don't stop it. You don't stop him. He's charged up, and he can single-handedly obliterate this Manchester City. He should be starting that game without any doubt. Then up top, here is the better. He spoke about Jadon Sancho, who has been played as a false nine in recent games. He says, of course, depending on the tactics he wants to bring in that game, he can go for him. But also Zirkzee, I feel, perhaps could be ready. He did not play a lot of football at the Euros, really. He had a few cameos, very negligible minutes. So my feeling is he should be ready now. He has had a decent week or so at Carrington, training and preparing. If he doesn't start, at least he can come on as a substitute. So you can see that the options are there, but the question is this an improved squad? If anything happened, and for me that's the multi-million dollar question, if anything happened and we need to start the season with these players, even if they were all fit, would this be an improved squad from what we had last season? Or don't you feel like there are positions you look at and you're unsure? Well, the thing is, and I'm not being so particular about this because, like I said, it's a preseason game. And I mean, it's Man City. If it's Man City, even your weakest team can beat them because players are psyched up against big teams like that. Players always have their psych on and stuff. And if you think about the squad that beat them, even in that FA Cup final, it was good. It was a strong squad because we had Licha there played a couple of minutes in that game. Then Rafael Varane was in there. Scott McTominay is among those who were there. It wasn't the best of squads really, but you get the feeling it was one of those psyched up performances, but also you feel there was a little that Man City didn't do in that particular game. So we cannot really rest on our laurels and say with the same squad we are able to beat them in the FA Cup in the last game of last season. So my feeling is generally, again, the performance, how we play against Man City will give us a proper idea of where we stand. But my feeling is this squad is not improved. This squad is not really an improvement. And I think it's going to be a difficult game. But if as we go into this game, what we need to see is not Man United winning or not. It's performance. How do we match against the best team in the league? How do we match against Manchester City? Because the reality is they're still the best team in the league. How do we match ourselves against them? That's the most important thing we need to be following and looking out for in this game. If we try to match them, even if they will be more effective, but if we create the chances we've been creating in the past games, if we get there, if we are, we are proactive, if we possess the game, if we control the game, if we match them at everything, trust you me, it will be a good sign that there is improvement, that where we are headed, there is hope. Because maybe the players were not as bad as we thought they were. And a few things around them needed to be changed, that Ineos changed. And maybe even if we are struggling to get new signings in, certain new signings in, maybe these players can give us, a good or a better start to the season. And by the time the improvements come, as we of course roll into the transition, of course we are not so badly off. So for me, I want to see the patterns, the play, the style of play. What are we playing? I need to look at the team and see. You look at Man City and you see what they're playing. I want to look at Man United and say, okay, now this is what we are playing. Those for me will be the things I'm looking out for. But also, guys, Joshua Zirkzee is a baller. We want to see him against John Stones and see his skills on the ball. We've spoken about him in similar terms with Ronaldinho and the likes. These are things that we need to come up with and try to look at, because there are so many things to be excited for. Ahmad, Joshua Zirkzee, if he's given the chance, a better Rashford. So there are things you want to look at in the game, and you hope that they go good. So that's my take on the game. Of course, again against Man City, Erik ten Hag will always adjust. I don't expect him to play a single pivot, whether Casemiro is in the middle or not. Not a single pivot. Play two holding midfielders, blocking on the left and on the right. Let's be firm in the middle. Pack the middle again, the midfield a little bit as well, because again it's Manchester City. But let us also play the ball. Let us, try to apply ourselves and feel confident, because we beat them before anyway with what should have been a worse squad. So why not? Shouldn't we believe in ourselves? So let's wait and see. But guys, there has been talk that Mathis De Ligt was off. The deal was never off. Whereas I told you last night that Jonathan Tah is not going to be bought by Bayer Leverkusen, doesn't mean that the deal of De Ligt was off. No, it wasn't. Guys, don't get it twisted. The deal is on. We're just waiting to see what Bayern Munich will come up with in terms of a response to our request for them to go down on their evaluation. So the talks are still ongoing. Let's wait and see how it will all go. My name is Webb. This is the United Sport. That's, of course, the Probable lineup. I will be back later with more news, of course, in the transfers, but also any updates concerning the squad. Peace, love, and harmony. See you later.